Greetings to the James River Exchange. Today I am sitting down at the James River Brewery with Will Smith, who is co-owner of the James River Batteau Company, and he has a lot of really good things to talk to us about. Welcome.
Good. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we don't have any music today.
Yeah, well, we wait around long enough.
Yes. So one thing, I have appreciated all three of the tours I've gone with you. You know, first it was the afternoon one, then the evening one, the cruise, and the dinner. And they were excellent. But what I'm most excited about is you chose Scottsville
Yes.
for your business. And this kind of falls into everything with the Chesapeake Gateways program and that. So,
Absolutely.
tell me about Scottsville and the James River.
Well, so for us, I guess going back, I'm a longtime participant in the James River Batteau Festival, and as far as I'm concerned, Scottsville has always been the coolest town along the James. So it's always been near and dear to my heart before I ever lived here, and I have great memories of being here as a kid, and so when I think of a James River town, I've always thought Scottsville.
Yeah. And I know I was asked once by the James River Association to name something about the river and the town, and I said, "The James River giveth and taketh away."
That's correct.
And they were all the floods that we've had.
Right.
Hopefully, that is in the past.
It's certainly the indispensable character of in the town's history, right? It's the reason it's here.
Yeah.
It's the reason it rose to prominence, and it's also tested whether it would stay here or not a few times.
And
so.
it's still, and
Yeah.
right now, it's not the river, it's basically our town's economics that will determine whether we stay here, which I hope we pick up on that. But
Absolutely.
that's neither here, although it does fall under tourism. So, and what is? Because you are basically a tourist industry.
Correct.
So how do you see that fitting into Scottsville?
So for us, when we were looking for a place to start the business, Scottsville made sense for a variety of reasons. And one of the major ones, other than the fact that we were partial to it for our own history, was the fact where it's located, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's, it's not the only town along the James, but it sits in a really, I think, nice region for tourism. One of the main things that is always going to be there is just proximity to Charlottesville. Charlottesville is a nationally known town that brings people. I got off the phone earlier today from a group that is doing their bachelorette party and down here in Charlottesville, and they're coming from New York. And one of the main things they want to do is get on a Batteau. So it's perfect. And I think proximity to a nationally known place that's already bringing people in is one thing that Scottsville really has going for it. And so I've worked hard to try to maintain relationships with the Charlottesville Visitors Bureau, or Visit Charlottesville, and they've identified the reasons people are coming to the Albemarle County region as being history, as being outdoors, and then obviously good wine and beer around here, as we are right here.
And here we are.
And Scottsville has all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know that you start the tour down at Canal Basin Square.
That's correct.
So people who have never been to town before, they actually can just meander through reading the different historical plaques and get a feel for the early days of this town.
Absolutely. We Canal Basin Square is our meeting point, and we ask the guests are there 30 minutes before the tour starts, and not always everybody makes it there in time, but which often gives people the ability to explore that park, which is, I think, one of the town's great resources, as a way to really touch base with why it's here and why it's prolonged this long.
Yeah. And that you include that into your tour. Another thing you do is you really want to collaborate with our local businesses.
Yes.
And hence here.
Yes.
And the restaurants. And what else do you see as important?
For tourism to work, it needs a full host of businesses that operate around it, right? If you're on vacation, you're having a nice, let's say weekend, you're going to need a place to stay, you're going to need a place to eat, and you're going to need stuff to do. And all of those things help build a tourism destination.
So one thing you and I discussed earlier was the potential of having other tours either before or after yours. Like, for instance, we have a large inventory of federal style houses in town. So I think working with the museum, you could possibly add that on as a benefit to coming as well.
I think having a walking tour in town makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons, especially with our day trip. We'll have people that get off the boat at 2:00 and they're in Scottsville and they say, what should we do next? And having an activity like that that's packaged up and easy to do, I think could be very, and especially that also takes you to local businesses, because a walking tour that leads to a brewery is always a lovely thing.
That's right, or to a local restaurant, but a brewery,
Exactly.
since here we are. So there's so many things happening now with the Chesapeake Bay and the Gateway program they're doing. This is also a part of the National Parks Service?
Yes, so it's a program that's put on by the National Park Service. So their definition is that it is a program that connects places across the Chesapeake Bay watershed where visitors can experience, learn about, and protect the natural, cultural, and historic resources of the region. And so that's including parks, it's including nature conservancies, museums, trails, and experiences like what we offer.
Yeah, no, I think it sounds wonderful. Yeah. And, the thing is, it will bring, I hope, even more people to our town through this initiative.
Absolutely. Like I alluded to earlier, I think partnerships with larger organizations than ourselves is one of the main ways we can punch above our weight in a town like Scottsville, right? I think depending on who you ask and what day, we have roughly 600 residents, right? And
that's right.
Yeah, and if you go to the town office, we have 2, maybe 3 people employed.
That's about right.
It's a lot just to keep the lights on in town, and so in order to push the story and what all we have to offer in Scottsville out, connecting with people who have more resources and more reach than we do is, I think, one of the most effective ways we can continue to get more people to Scottsville.
Yeah, no, I think, this brewery brings people. I've sat in here on a Saturday and people come in. I've met people from Ireland, from Japan, and they somehow found this place. And it's exciting that they want to talk to you about it.
Absolutely.
So it's not just that, it's the conversations we have with our visitors, whether they're from Charlottesville or Richmond or, like I said, Ireland or Japan or...
And I think you could put forth that example, for instance, of the brewery as kind of a microcosm of what Scottsville has to offer and how we distinguish ourselves, right? So Let's say if you go to, we won't name names here, but let's say you go to a different brewery in a different area in the region that's close. These things are often very large. They are often places where you hang out with the people that you came there with, and you don't mix in with other people and you don't meet new friends. That is not the case, at least in my experience at this brewery. This is, I always describe it as a brewery as it should have existed before they turned into adult Disneyland.
Yes.
And so this is the local watering hole. But I think that same feeling that this brewery creates is what this town creates, a place to meet people and a place where there's just the small town America charm is very much alive here. And I think it's one of the ways we can distinguish ourselves from other towns and other cities in the region. If I go on just a little bit longer, what I would say is that the majority of people that are coming to this region are coming from population centers. So you're, DC, Richmond, Virginia Beach, Tidewater. They are looking not to stay in another city, even though that might have been what brought them there. They are looking to slow down in a small town, and we have that in spades.
That we do.
Yep.
Anything else? When does your season open?
So the season opens in April. So yeah, so I
Okay.
think our first tours are going out this year, April 17th, I believe,
Okay.
is our first date of the year. And so we're very much looking forward to that. And we've got some new experiences and things that we're very excited to announce in the near future. And
Good.
so,
Well,
so
another podcast?
yeah, for another podcast.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
joining me down here at the brewery. And I think it's probably time for a brew.
Let's do that. Thank you for
Okay.
hosting me.
You're welcome. And as always, if you have a story, an event, a song, or an issue you'd like to discuss, let's have a
I
discussion.
just heard the awful
Take care.
news. Yeah, I could steer around the rocks, but they're busting down the docks.